Good evening, everybody. My name is Jacob Vescan, here with Team Goon Squad. Apologies for the technical issues and getting a bit of a late start in tonight's race. Got for you another round for the ASRC Race1.US SK Modified Series here at Southern National. Got a healthy field, 24 drivers out here today. Looking to get ready to go green here. 150 laps. Devin McDonald on the pole. Pace car is going to be pulling off here. We're going to be going green here shortly. Should have a great race here for you. As a reminder, all of these fixed setup. No fast repairs. One extra set of tires. We are underway. Devin McDonald leads Brett Payne to turn number 1. Down the backstretch. Lap times will be fast and furious here in these SK modified team with limited horsepower. These drivers are going to be flying around. Looks like as quickly as I say that, we get our first caution of the night. Looks like Tim Rogers involved in a bit of a scuffle. We'll see if we can grab a replay here for you momentarily. Look and see what happened to Tim. Play here one moment. Let's see what happened to Tim Rogers. You see Rogers in the 48 white and black yellow numbered machine, Fox machine. They're working their way off of turn number 2. Looks like I believe that's going to be the number 12. Possibly gets into him. See as they're going down in. Might have been. Looks like it was 3 wide between Rogers, the 51 of Ron Hart. It's also the 32 of Riley Mauricio. So sends Rogers around for a little bit of a spin there, the inside of the track, off the banking. Everybody else doing a pretty good job dodging that. So that brings us out on our first caution for tonight. Rogers all the way in the back. Back under green, Devin McDonald. Away. It's back on the front stretch. Timing issue iRacing is having. Let's see if we can get everything sorted out for you. Some of the yellow flags brought out. I'm not sure if that was due to an actual wreck or if this is due to iRacing's timing glitch. It looks like iRacing having a bit of an issue trying to get this sorted out. So we'll let it work through. Again, iRacing is having a little bit of a timing issue, which we have seen before. Devin McDonald, the 18, should be your race leader. 71 of Brett Hahn, the second behind him. 14 is Zach Heiser, third. Charles Darling in the 88, fourth. Ron Hart in the 51, fifth. Like I said, you're seeing a bit of a timing issue going on, so we can see what happens here. Well, that goes on. I'm going to see if the race car is going to get one to go. So we got a bit of a timing issue, so I'm going to try to get you guys a bit of a refresh there. System. So momentary pause. Should we get that back up there? Let's see if that corrects it. Get you guys good to go back here as quickly as possible. Sorry about those issues. Back under the green flag. Lap 40. McDonald on the way, or lap 4, excuse me. I think we're actually going to be a little bit ahead of that now. And we got a wreck. Oh, big wreck off of turn number 2. Looks like Charles Darling involved in that, David Patton, Tyler Jordan all involved in that. It's going to bring on another caution here. We're in lap number 6. See the pace car. Charles Darling in the 88 getting it spun around. Let's see if we can grab you a replay of what brought that out. Bit of a tumble there. Out of turn 2. You can see in the background. See what happens. So we're going to see David Patton, the 38 machine. He's leading this group right here. They're going to be working their way off of turn number 2. Looks like the 92 was Tyler Jordan getting loose there. You can see him kind of sliding down low off of turn 2 down the back stretch. Excuse me, off the front stretch. See what happens. He got loose down off turn 4, so it puts him on the inside. You see David Patton working the outside. And then here comes Jordan getting loose again, tries to correct it, and Patton gets right into the back of him, sends those two, and then up ahead was Charles Darling going for a spin. So a couple separate incidents there happening at the same time, bringing out the caution. So we're back under green flag, working lap 6. McDonald's still leading the way. Another caution. Short track action at its finest. Bit of an issue tonight, it seems like. It's like John Kane possibly involved in that one. Just see what happened to bring out this caution. Look at John Kane. He's going to be the number 29 machine. Red and black. He's working his way off of turn number 2. Down the back stretch. He's got the 75. It's going to be Justin Callahan right behind him. Let's see if these two get some contact going into turn 3 possibly. This Kane looks to take a little bit of a later entry. He and Callahan make contact, so that's what brings out your third caution. Back under the green flag here. Looking lap number 7, 150. Donald's still leading the way. Not far ahead of Brett Hahn, though, on the 210s back, just about a half a car length behind. They work back into turn number 1. In the front, backstretch here at lap number 8. These lap times are quick, just over 14 seconds. Drivers clicking off the laps. Your front 3 have broken away. Now lap time's under 14 seconds as the tires start to heat up, get a little bit more grip on them. You can see the front 3 of McDonald, Hahn, and Heiser are all broken away. They're about 8/10 ahead of the 51 of Ron Hart. Working lap number 10 here. Quite a few drivers on pit road. Caution. Wrecks. 3 cautions so far if you just tuned in. Glad to see everybody here this week. Again, my name is Jake Fescannon on behalf of Team Goon Squad. Filling in for Mason Highball. He should be back with you next week. We got a battle up front for the lead, though. Evan McDonald got a little loose there in 3 and 4. Allowed Brett Hahn to get by him. When the caution flag comes out, looks like Noah Boucher. A bit of an issue. Let's see if we can grab your replay, but that brings out our 4th caution. On lap number 12. Take a look at what happened. 16 to Noah Boucher. See Boucher here. Black, white, and blue car. It's going to have the 951 of Brian Wildassen right behind him, working off at turn number 2 here. See if Wildassen gets a little bit of a run, possibly gets into the back. I'm sure he's gonna work. Yeah, just tries to dive underneath him going into turn 3, gets the right front wheel and the left rear. Noah sends him around, so tough break for Noah. Didn't really do anything wrong there going into turn 3. Back up to the lead, though, as we work. Third caution driver's going to be getting ready to go green here. Brent Hahn's going to have your lead as they work their way down the backstretch. Was able to pull that away from Devin McDonald after McDonald got a little loose in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Still very, very early on, only working lap number 12 here. 50. Back under green. Hahn gets a big jump. And McDonald has a half-second lead as they work their way back into turn number 3. Guys are trying to follow up. He leads a hungry group. He's got Hart, Mauricio, Fleury all right behind him. We've got side-by-side racing. Evans on the outside. 933 machine. He's got the 41-0 just in front of him. It's Riley Mauricio. A little bit of a spin. Looks like Tim Rogers also involved in that. Saw that happen there. Brings out fifth caution leave. Excuse me. Take a quick look at that. Contact between Mauricio and Rogers. See Rogers in the 48. Let's actually go up to Riley. See, he's working the outside. He's just outside of the 87 of Luigi. And the 25 of Nick Fleury. Try to cut underneath Luigi. Makes contact off the right front. There, going into turn number 1. That's going to spin him around, and then you're going to see Rogers come into this one here. Rogers really try to figure out where exactly Mauricio's going to be going. Locks it down, goes to the inside wall. So separate incident there. Hits the inside retaining wall in the middle of 1 and 2. Again, brings out our 5th caution for tonight. So get you back to the front. It's Brett Hahn again going to have your race lead. Lap number 16. Ready to go green here. Back of the way. Lap 16 of 150. Again, breaking out to a big lead, half-second ahead of Devin McDonald. Devin McDonald trying to fight off advances from the 14 of Zach Reiser. Back out underneath the caution again. Looks like John Hammond in the 113 machine having a bit of an issue. See him catching up to the field. Reminder, guys, these guys do not have fast repairs, so these open wheels, if you sustain any damage to the suspension, possibly take the roll bar and push in, can cause issues. Look at Hammond here, the 113 monster machine. He's running outside of the 951 of Brian Wildassen. Let's see what happens here as they go down the backstretch. Looks like Hammond's going to get a possible bump from the 74 Mark Welch, and that's what sends around. Looks like that was going into the entry of 3 and 4. Welch coming in with a lot more power. So we're going to get ready to go back green. Pace car again as the field's filed. Brett Hahn leading the way. Pace car pulls off. On again with a really good restart. away from McDonald. This time just 4/10. We'll see if that continues to grow. Oh, looks like Zach Heiser, a little bit of contact outside retaining wall in the middle of the backstretch. That's going to let Devin McDonald pull away. Heiser's going to have the 51 of Ron Hart behind him. It's going to be a battle for 3rd and 4th. Just outside of that, back in 5th and 6th. Oh, we've got a spin behind Franklin Evans. Gets put around. He's in the 41 machine. Transponder shows the 933 machine, so timing issue there. Whoa! That also allows the 6. Cameron Dureau comes flying in, trying to avoid it as Evans trying to work his way around. He's now parked on the backstretch. So a couple cars getting into that one. Brings out caution at number 7. Timing tower had a bit of an issue off on one, so we've got more caution than what you're seeing there. Had a host of cautions early tonight. It's working lap number 20 of 150. These cars going to be pulling off this time. Drivers all working their way onto the backstretch. I'm going to lead him back around. Big jump. He's got a huge advantage. Devin McDonald. 3/4 of a second. McDonald fighting pressure from 14 and Zach Heiser. McDonald a little bit of a run in the middle. 3 and 4 clears Heiser by about a car and a half length as they go back into turn number 1. McDonald, Heiser, Hart all working the inside line. 87 with David Ricci trying to work his way up. He's got the 25 of Nick Fleury behind him. Ricci holding down the 5th spot. He's trying to close up to the back bumper of Ron Hart. Good run down the back stretch going into turn 2. A little bit of a later entrance. 3 and 4 trying to take a later apex, carry as much speed down corners. A lot of drivers favoring a little bit of an earlier entry into the corners. Try to protect that inside line to make sure nobody dives in the sun. And we go back under the yellow flag. It's like Eric Hahn with an issue. Eric Hahn in the 7-Eleven machine. See if we can grab a replay of what happened to him. So we see Han in the 7-Eleven machine. He's going to be working his way down into turn number 3. He's got the 32 of Riley Mauricio right behind him. Looks like Mauricio going to close up, get a run. Joe, you see Mauricio trying to dive underneath. I think this might be setting up a bit of an issue going into turn 1. So Han's going to take the outside line, almost up against the retaining wall. Mauricio getting the 1 going into turn 1. Mauricio just overdrives the entry a little bit, gets into the left rear Hans. Sends Han for a slide up the banking in the middle of 1 and 2. And that brings out our 8th caution. Brett Hahn in the 71. It's been ahead for about the last 10 laps or so. Driver should be getting the 1 to go this time by. Looks like they're going to have another lap or so. To give everybody a chance to get caught back up to the pace car. Definitely rough and tumble here at Southern National. Having a bit of a tough go of it at times. gives them the 1 to go. Next time by, we're going to be back on the green flag. This car's going to be going off this time. We're going to be going back. Green flag racing. Get a little bit of an overview. Spotter scoring stand here. Go back under the green flag. Give you an idea of how this field starts going. It's Brett Hahn pulling away. 3-car length advantage. Heiser working the inside. And then McDonald survives it for at least the front stretch. Gets the run off the 30. Heiser going to keep trying to work his way to the back bumper at Devin McDonald. It's going to be a battle for second and third. Brett Hahn pull away on now almost a 6/10 of advantage, but Heiser all over the back bumper. McDonald was your pole setter. Heiser qualified third. Heiser just off the back bumper as they come out of turn number 4. Taking a little bit of an earlier entry compared to McDonald, seeing a little more speed into the corners. McDonald able to get a little bit of a better run off the corners. Oh, we've got a wreck. Andrew Payne around. He's up against the outside retaining wall. He's in the number 27 Team Goon Squad machine, brings out our next caution here. Working lap number 28, 9th caution. Take a look at what happened to Payne. I see Payne running side by side. I believe that's going to be the 25. Yes, 25 Nick Fleury there. Fleury in the orange and white checkered rear bumper pattern. Payne in the Team Goon Squad colors. Payne giving Fleury room on the outside, working down to that first set of lane markers. Fleury working the bottom. Looks like Payne just gets a little bit loose on the outside there. Not quite sure if there's actually any contact with Fleury. I don't think there was. If there was, it was already after Payne had already been spinning around, so I don't really think Fleury did anything wrong there. Payne just trying to get on the gas, a little loose. It is a afternoon race here. So tracks can be hot and slick. Drivers struggling for a little bit of grip, especially after a spin. They have not taken their set of tires, which is very early on to take it. Tire temps can be high, grip levels low. Just tuning in, working our 9th caution here. Scoring tower to show 8, but missed 1. Very, very early on. Not even to the 1/5 mark yet. Here, just working lap number 28. Brett Hahn started second, up to the lead. Devin McDonald, pole sitter, on second. Heiser third. Ron Hart fourth. Devin Muji, the 87 machine, running 5th. Drivers going to be getting ready to go green next time by. Pace car will be pulling off. Turn number 3, we'll see the pace car pull off here in the middle of 3 and 4 to dive to pit road. We'll be getting ready to go green. Hahn's going to get going as he exits out of turn 4. Green him again, back into 1. Down with a little bit of a better restart compared to Zach Heiser. We'll see if Zach Heiser can work. He's working all over the back bumper of McDonald before that last caution came out. We're going to start lap number 29. Heiser again resumes his battle. Devin McDonald. Off that back bumper inside line. Going to try to get to the inside. Almost makes contact with the left rear. McDonald stays off of him. They're going to go side by side. Oh, hard to tell if there was contact there between Heiser and McDonald. There was a bit of prediction code on iRacing's part, thinking those two were going to make contact. But you saw that spin right there in the middle of 3 and 4. Brings out our 9th caution. Tough break for both drivers. They ran it in hard side by side. Heiser was trying to make the pass on the inside. Just could not quite make it stick. They both kind of went around. Same time, looks like he might have drifted up off the apron slightly. That yellow line, or the white line you see there, it's very tough here at Southern National. Moderate banking, the transitions are so sharp between the very flat apron, the banked corners, that if you clip that white area at all, the lower part of the apron, it will send your car for a spin, often up the track. If you have any competitors to the outside, it's not very hard make contact with their left side Nerf bars. It's a tough break there. Brett Hahn's going to keep the lead. It's going to allow Ron Hart move up to second. He started 6th tonight, so he finds himself up 4 spots. David Luigi up to 3rd now after starting 11th. He's up 8 spots. Charles Darling in the 88 is going to be scored in 4th. He started 4th tonight. Noah Boucher after his spin. 16 Machine now finds himself in 5th. Started 14th tonight. Rest of your top 10, 951 O'Brien, Dassin, 888 Machine, Michael Strickland, 29 John Kane, 74 of Mark Welch. And just ignore the timing right now while it gets itself reset. We should be good to go once we go back green. Pace car's going to be pulling off this time. Hahn again will be leading them back to the green flag. It's off and rolling. A little bit of a stack up there between Ron Hart and David Luigi. I think Hart was expecting a slightly earlier restart by Brett Hahn. It's chimed out a little bit. Luigi got in the backfield, but Hahn pulls away. Hart running 2nd, Luigi 3rd. Back as we got side by side between Charles Darling and Noah Boucher. Boucher, 16 Machine, Darling, and the 88 Machine on the outside. A slight advantage to Boucher. Darling falling back. 951 of Brian Dassin trying to work by him. Dassin trying to insert himself into 5th place here. Lap number 32. They have just under 120 laps to go, but Dassin does pull it away from Darlington. Clears him as they work their way in the middle of Tier 2 onto the backstretch. Dassin up to 5th. Boucher 6th. Charles Darling falling back to 6th. Now under the attack of the 888 Machine and Michael Strickland. Fastest lap of the race set by the 16 Noah Boucher. 13.93 seconds the last time by. And we're starting to get in a little bit of a run here. Looks like we've got the 16 in there. Noah Boucher though moves for a spin to the inside, brings out the caution. Saw him working the inside of Brian Dassin. Try to grab you a replay here. What happened? Boucher. Looks like he just gets onto the throttle a little too early. Out in front of Dassin. Just slides it off of turn 2. Yep, that's what allowed Dassin to get to the outside. Boucher was 4th before this. You're going to see him go back into turn number 3 here. Charles Darling going to be the 88 on the outside of Boucher. Yeah, it looks like maybe he clipped the apron slightly, got on that sharp transition that I talked about, just kind of slid up the track. Great job by the drivers to give him the space. No contact with anybody else, just a solo spin to the inside retaining wall. It's a really good job by all drivers to keep that from being a multi-car incident. Yeah, puts us under caution for the 10th time tonight, 11th time, excuse me. Boucher now on pit road. Get back to Brett Hahn, race leader. Appreciate all of you that are tuned in. It's really early on the night, so if you're just tuning in and have not missed much, only on lap number 35. So we still got 116 laps to go. Long way left here tonight. Car giving them the 1 to go signal this time. Drivers can be working their way back to under green flag next time by. See if we can get a few more laps here in back under green. Trying to pull away from Ron Hart. Ron Hart anticipating that jump a little bit better. Still out to about a half-second lead, though, as they work their way back into turn number 3. Side-by-side back through the field. Looks like John Kane, 29 machine, trying to work to the inside. 32 with Riley Riccio. Back a little bit. More cart in the wall. Looks like that might have been Zach Heiser, possibly. He's on the back of the pack. Possibly Noah Boucher. Some right front damage. He's off the pace. Brett Hahn continuing to lead, though. Ron Hart trying to close down. Hart was about a tenth of a second faster. Now Hart sets the fastest lap of tonight's race with 13.92. Big gap between Hart and Wildassin. Wildassin was a full second behind. Kind of leads the second pack here. Wildassin, Luigi, Darling, 3rd, 4th, 5th on track. And a 2-car pack. Riccio and Strickland behind them. Lap number 40, yellow flag comes out. It's a problem for Zach Heiser. Replay here. See Heiser working into turn number 3. We're going to bottom out at turn number 4 to see if there's any contact that happens in front of him. He's working behind the 47. That's Joseph Grijalva. It's like, oh, we got cars going everywhere. Grijalva taking a late entry. Heiser just gets right into his left rear, sends both of them for a spin in the middle of 1 and 2. It's going to take both of them to pit road now. Working our 12th caution of tonight. Under lap number 41. Just as we started clicking off some laps, Ron Hart trying to close the gap down to Brett Hahn. That caution came out. It's been very tough for drivers to build up any momentum and pick up too many spots here. We've not had very long green flag run at all. Really just a few laps at most at times. A few drivers that are all on pit road for repairs. Looks like 5 drivers right now. It's 38 of David Patton, 933 of Franklin Evans, 6 of Cameron DeRoe, 75 Justin Callahan, and the 92 of Tyler Jordan. Evans, DeRoe, Callahan, Jordan, all showing us out of tonight's event. Getting ready to go green here. I'm gonna lead him off again. Better jump. Tassin now running 3rd. So we're trying to put the pressure. We've still got battle here side by side. Charles Darling working the inside of Riley Riccio. They work their way back into turn number 1 here on lap 42. Just not quite able to carry as much momentum off the corner as that outside line for Riley. Riccio going to clear him for the moment. On 5th place. And Strickland, though, going to run a side-by-side for 7th and 8th behind them. Also now have the 93 of Andrew Payne trying to work his way back up after the spin. Payne working the inside right behind Fleury. Strickland working the outside. Fleury able to pull ahead of Strickland. Payne working ahead of Strickland. Strickland falling back. He's going to fall back to 8th place. Fleury takes over 6th. Payne up to 7th. Looks like Darling had a bit of an issue. Tends to pits. Some drivers slow on the inside there of the backstretch. Back up front though. So we've got a 3-car breakaway. Brett Hahn still in the lead. Ron Hart 2nd. Wildassin 3rd. Wildassin turns a 13.90 the last time by. That's good for your fastest lap of the race so far. Working lap number 47 now. Just before for the third mark of tonight's event. On with about a quarter-second advantage. Quarter-second separating Hart and Dassin. Both their drivers running nearly identical lap times the last time by, all separated by just a couple hundredths. This time by a little more of a separation, but still very close, all on pace. Riccio fourth, G in fifth, hanging about a half-second back as well. See if Hart can try to close the gap back up. Last time by, it was about half a tenth faster than Hahn. That one car sent him pit road exit cone up for tumble through the backstretch. No harm, no foul though. Stay under green here, working lap number 50. About 100 to go the next time by. Hart really trying to close it. He's going to get to the inside. Down the backstretch, things better, but backs him out. Hahn continues to lead. They work their way off of turn number 4. Ratios close this gap up now. We've got just 3/4 of a second separating the front 4. Dassin trying to work to the inside of Ron Hart. Lap traffic slowing up. We've got a 3-wide moment there in the middle of 3 and 4. And we go back to 2 wide. It's Hart working the middle lane. Dassin on the inside. Riccio trying to work the inside behind Dassin, trying to send Ron Hart back to 4th. Hart does get freight train, falls back in line, tries to stay in front of the 87 Luigi. Dassin comes away with 2nd. He's got Riccio right behind him. They're going to try to close back up to Brett Hahn. Hahn's been able to pull away to 3/4 of a second advantage. Way back out at turn number 4 onto the front stretch. Dassin making the way back into turn number 2. Hahn was a little bit slower the last time by Dassin, about 1/10.5 second, 1/10.5 faster this time by. Times a little bit closer, about 8/10 or 8/100 of a second difference between Hahn and Dassin. Dassin with a slight advantage, but he's got the 32 and finally with Riccio all behind him. Ron Hart's been able to regroup, breaks away from the 87 and David Luigi. So we're back to a 3-car battle here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Dassin with a slight 2/10 of advantage. He's still got the gap down to 5.5 tenths. Trying to force his way back up to Brett Hahn, making up a bit of time. John Hammond with a bit of an issue. Hammond, unfortunately, lap off the pace. 113 machine not having the best of the race. Scored in 17th right now. 24 started tonight's event. You also saw the 38, I believe that was David Patton up high, little 1 and 2. We stay green though. Dassin's broken away from Riccio, trying to close it into Hahn. Ron Hart trying to regain a podium position. He's working the back bumper of Riccio. We're going to come down the front stretch, and we're going to have a caution comes out. Devin McDonald, Zach Heiser getting into a bit of an issue. Take a look at that. Let's see what happened to these two. It's the 18 of Devin McDonald. He's going to be following behind at the 16. Noah Boucher. Boucher moves high to let McDonald by, looks like. Boucher getting pretty loose there out of turn 4. And McDonald was your pole sitter. Involved in an incident earlier, trying to work his way back up through the field. Looks like Boucher just going to overdrive the entry, possibly. Yeah, right here, you see contact. Right front of Boucher gets in the left rear of McDonald, sends McDonald for a spin in the middle of 1 and 2. Those both head up to the outside. McDonald bouncing off the outside, retaining while Boucher getting off the front bumper. McDonald. Unfortunately, 2 spins for McDonald tonight. Back to your race leader, working our 13th caution here. Lap number 59. Still your race leader. Brian Wilsassen, 951 up to 2nd. Ryan Riccio, 3rd. Ron Hart, 4th. And Nick Fleury scored in 5th right now. Looks like we're going to get a double file restart this time. Got a few more green flag laps in. Race control feels fairly confident. These drivers are starting to sort it out a little bit here. See if this is a good sign of things to come. We'll be 16 laps away from the halfway mark of tonight's race. Get our first double file restart since the very beginning of the race. See how that bodes. On getting advantage on the inside. Ron Hart trying to get the push on the outside. He's got Mauricio to his inside. Tassin gets away, gets himself back in the second. After starting on the outside. He's 2/10 of a second behind on Hart in third. 2/10 ahead of Mauricio. They're about half a second ahead of Nick Fleury and David Luigi. Those two are battling side by side. Luigi outside, Fleury on the inside. Side by side, 4th, 5th, and 6th here out of turn number 2 on the backstretch. Andrew Payne now inserting himself into this battle. He's going to work to the inside of David Luigi. Tries to take 6th away off of turn 4. Luigi gets really loose. Strickland gets into the back of him, hits him square though. A little bit of sheet metal damage possibly. Keeps it straight. We stay green. Allows Fleury to pull away from Payne. We're going to try to close up to Mauricio. Going to be 6/10 behind. Front 4 are all about evenly spaced, somewhere around 1/4 of a second apart from each other. As Renan takes your lead, work their way back onto the front stretch, working lap number 65. Now almost 4/10 of a second ahead of Brian Maldassin. Maldassin, last time by, was half a tenth behind. Lap time from Han. Han trying to get a little bit of an advantage, pull away, open that lead back up to 4/10 now. Seen a couple big leads develop here, only to have them whittled away by untimely caution flags. See if we get into a run here, close to the halfway mark. Get into a long run, you may see some potential tire strategies develop if we get another caution flag. Drivers electing when to choose to take their other set of tires. It's been tough to work our way up through the field though with the frequent cautions we've had. Drivers have best been able to pick up a spot or two at a time. Left with 14 cars on the lead lap out of the 24 that started tonight's event. Renan gets shuffled to the outside by Brian Maldassin. Maldassin takes the lead. He's got Ron Hart right behind him. Right, Mauricio working the inside. We're going to go back to single file for the front 3. Although Ron Hart trying to take a look to the inside. Maldassin shuts the door on him as they go back through turn number 4. Cool contact there between Ron Hart and Riley Mauricio. That's going to bring out our caution here on lap number 70. Take a look at the replay and see if Ron Hart cut down in front of Mauricio, if Mauricio just drove it in a bit deep into turn 3. That sent Hart spinning all the way to the inside, the front stretch. It's like Hart's trying to cut down in front of Mauricio. Hard to say who that one's going to get rolled on, because I can make an argument for Hart trying to shut the door on Mauricio and block him. Mauricio getting the run off the corner. I think that's going to be more likely to candidate to what happened there. Hart saw Mauricio coming, did not want to give him that inside line. He knew if Mauricio had that inside line going into turn 1, it was likely going to freight train Hart and send him possibly back to 4th place. So he tried to shut the door there and unfortunately just did it a little too late. Mauricio getting the momentum off of turn number 4, got into the back of him, sent Hart spinning around. So that puts us under our 14th caution tonight. Ron Hart coming on the pit road for some service. All the drivers on there. Nick Fleury on there. Brett Hahn coming in to take tires. To let the field go by. Waiting to exit. So we're going to see where that puts us in terms of who your race leader is going to be. Looks like it's going to be the 951 of Brian Maldassin. It's going to have the 93 of Andrew Payne right behind him, along with the 87 Dave Luigi. Those are your top 3. Michael Strickland 4th. Joseph Halva going to be 5th place. Once we get it all sorted out, ready to go back to green. See if race control feels content. Conduct on track to allow another double file restart, or if we're going to go back to single file. Working just before the halfway mark here. Lap 71. 80 laps to go right now. Looks like we are going to go double file. So Daston's going to be the inside. Payne on the outside. Luigi the inside. Circle on the outside fourth. And Hava the inside. The Menards machine starting in fifth. Back under green flag conditions. Daston's going to lead him on the inside back into turn number one. He's got Luigi right behind him. Andrew Payne trying to work hard on the outside. Gets a big momentum down the backstretch. See if he can work the outside of Daston. They go side by side. Payne really trying to carry that momentum down the front stretch into turn number one. Inside line fails so far for Daston and Payne trying to gain time by time. We see somebody going around. Looks like that's John Kane in 29 machine. He gets turned around off at turn two down the inside. Backstretch, we go back under caution. Kane in the number 29 Black Rifle Coffee Company machine. Grab a replay of what happened to him. Kane right ahead. I believe that's going to be the 7-11 of Eric Hahn. Excuse me, no. Is the 71 of Brett Hahn. Working back into turn number one. Let's see what happens to Kane here. He's got Strickland just ahead of him, as well as 74 of Mark Welch to his outside. Looks like he expected Welch to come up the track a little bit more. Welch started exiting the corner, then kind of parked it in the middle of the track. Kane ran into the left rear of Welch that sent him around after he made contact with his right front. Yeah, it's hard with the way these drivers sit in full containment seats along with the big air cooler in front. It's hard for drivers sometimes to see where drivers are, so tough for him to judge whether or not Welch was going to be coming up. Common theme would be coming up more towards the outside retaining wall when you're on the outside line exiting a corner. Welch just didn't quite do that. Kane didn't see him. A little bit of contact there. Sends Kane to the inside. Working our 15th caution here tonight, just before the halfway mark. To bring this time by, single files has really got a lap or two in. So Daston taking advantage of that, trying to pull away from Andrew Payne. Payne getting a good run though through turn number two, closes up to just off the bumper of Will Daston. 10th of a second's the difference right now. Payne all over the back bumper, taking a little bit of a lower exit out of turn number four down the front stretch. A little bit of a later entry. Trying to cross underneath Will Daston off the corners to get that inside line into the next corner. See him working all over the back bumper here. Across the line to start lap number 75. Payne slowly making that ground, does take the inside line, see if he can take advantage of it or if Will Daston's going to get the momentum. Oh, Payne gets loose down the backstretch, momentarily takes over the lead, but that allows Will Daston to fight back the outside. Clears on those, he comes off turn number four. Payne up to the lead for the first time tonight, going to try to throw a block as Will Daston crosses underneath him. Payne gets loose in the middle of 1 and 2, allows Will Daston back to the inside. Payne still holding the lead on the outside. We'll see if Will Daston gets momentum off the corner. They go side by side across the start finish line. Daston slight advantage. Payne though working that outside line, carries the momentum down the backstretch into turn number 3. Luigi just a spectator for this, trying to size up which way to go, see which lane prevails. That'll be the way he looks to go. Will Daston and Payne still fighting side by side though. Great battle up here for the lead as we work lap number 78. Just past the halfway mark. 15 cars still on the lead lap. The field is spread out a little bit now. Drivers have retired from damage throughout the event. Daston pulls away. Still only a 10th and a half second to separate Daston and Payne. Luigi trying to insert himself in this battle along with the 47 of Grahava. Joseph Grahava hasn't really been a fixture up in front. He's avoided some wrecks. Works his way back up through the field. Payne back to the inside of Will Daston. They're going to go side by side again back into turn number 3. Payne really working that inside line to 38. That was David Patton pulling on the pit road just in front of them. Payne able to clear Will Daston. See if he can take advantage of this now, start working his way out. Will Daston again crossing back to the inside. Not quite able to get to the inside of Payne though. Force him up the track. Payne getting loose off of turn 4. It's really working that throttle hard, trying to get the run. Allows Will Daston back to the inside. The slow car, I believe that's Patton again. He's going to pull back to the inside line. Allows the drivers to go on by, pulls back to the pit road. It's multiple laps off the pace here. It's Payne and Will Daston continuing a great battle up front just past the halfway mark. We're on lap number 83. I have 67 to go this time by. Closing in on the final third of tonight's event. Getting a good green flag run here, and we're seeing a great battle for the lead. It's Payne. Every time it looks like he's able to clear Will Daston and start pulling away, he has a mistake. Will Daston takes advantage of it. Will Daston not letting Payne get away with that lead. A quarter of a second ahead of Luigi, Hahn, Grijalvo going back to 5th as Hahn working his way up through the field with fresh tires. Will Daston goes for a spin off of turn number 4. Grab a replay, see if there was contact there. You saw him working the inside of Payne. Goes around. Brings out our 16th caution tonight. Let's see here. This is coming off the turn 2 onto the backstretch. Looks like Payne gets slightly loose. Well, Daston's going to try to take advantage of that. He's going to drive to the inside. They're going to go back into turn number 3 here. Payne on the outside, Will Daston on the inside. Daston working that. He's kind of pushing up off the corner, gets loose on his own. Yeah, looks like he just got on the throttle a little too hard, maybe carried a bit too much momentum through the corner, trying to work to the inside of Payne. Just spins off on his own down to the inside, so no contact there, it looks like. Single car spin, part of Brian Will Daston, the 951 machine. Keep Andrew Payne. Looks like Andrew Payne will shuffle back out, so let's see how this works out. So we had a few drivers come to pit road, so Riley Mauricio going to be your race leader, possibly. This all sorts out, but it does appear that way right now. Eric Hahn, 2nd. Mark Welch, 3rd. Tim Rogers up to 4th. And looks like we're going to get scoring resorted, so hold that thought. Andrew Payne should be as your race leader. A moment there, do you scoring situated? So Andrew Payne going to be 2nd. David Luigi 3rd. Brett Hahn 4th. Joseph Grijalvo. Brett Hahn, 3rd. Grijalvo 4th, and Michael Strickland, your 5th place runner. This is the Race1.us Escape Modified Series, American Sim Racing Club. Glad to have you all here tuned in. Just past the halfway mark, getting ready to go back. Payne back. Green flag action here on lap number 86. Jump almost have 2nd advantage over Luigi. Brett Hahn, 2nd place qualifier, was your race leader for the middle part of the race. Pit road now working his way back up to the field on his 2nd set of tires. He's feeling pretty good in those, having a little bit more grip. He's working the inside line. Taking Luigi as they go back into turn 3. They've broken away from Grijalvo. Grijalvo kind of holding up the next pack. See if anything develops there. But we're going to keep here as Brett Hahn continues to work to the inside of Luigi. Takes 2nd place away. He's going to set his sights on Andrew Payne now. Grijalvo leading Strickland, Fleury, Mauricio, Hart. Payne sets your fastest lap of the race, 13.89 seconds last time by. Grijalvo pulling away. It's Nick Fleury's toward the inside of Michael Strickland. Flurry's going to lead Mauricio and Hart on the inside line. Strickland working that outside line. A little bit later entrance, and shutting the door on Mauricio as they go back into turn number 3. Up number 90 going to be in the books. 60 laps to go here. It's going to file for 5th through 8th on track. Strickland falls all the way back to 8th, trying to hang on to that pack. He's got a bit of a gap in front of 7-11 and Eric Hahn. Over a second. Mauricio trying to work to the inside, and Nick Fleury. They're going to go side by side through 1 and 2. Just behind Joseph Grijalva. Fleury still working that inside line. Just Fleury on the outside line, Mauricio on that inside line. So you had the 29 John Kane off the base up high, trying to stay out of the way of this battle. Slower drivers now on track doing its best job as they can, staying out of the way of these lead lap battles. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Fleury and Mauricio brings out our, I think this is going to be 17th caution of tonight. Almost like a little bit of, you saw Mauricio kind of disappear and then pop back up. I think it might have almost been a bit of prediction code there. Them running side by side, iRacing wasn't quite sure where Mauricio was going to be. You see Mauricio on the inside there. Fleury working the outside. It's coming off of turn 4 onto the front stretch, just behind the 47 of Grijalva. Gonna go back into turn number 1 where the spin's gonna happen. See Mauricio taking that inside line, Fleury working the outside line. Man, almost like Fleury did kind of turn down a little bit, trying to pinch Mauricio off the corner. A little bit of contact there sends him spinning. Ron Hart doing a really good job to avoid their left rear with Fleury. So that's what puts us under caution number 17 tonight. Red Hahn was able to take over the race lead. Coming in the pit road to take his set of tires, so that's what puts him back in the field, gives the lead back to Brett Hahn. Brett Hahn hitting earlier tonight's race, caution on lap 70. So you got Hahn, Luigi, Grijalva, Hart, top 4. Ready to go green flag racing this time. We're lap 95. Just 56 laps left to go. Brett Hahn back to the lead. Good for the better part of the first third of this race. Left 12 cars on the lead lap. It's been a war of attrition here. Half the field's been able to survive that war so far. With 4/10 of a second advantage over Luigi. So the gap exists back to the 51 of Ron Hart. We're going to go back through the field. So we've got a tough battle developing here. 16 of Nick Boucher. Put a contact off of Fleury. Gets loose, slows him up. Fleury takes over 6th place. He's got Andrew Payne working behind him. Payne on those fresh tires, really trying to make use of that extra grip. Rips some fast lap times, work his way back up through the field. He goes to working outside. Back into turn number 3. Working that second lane off turn number 4. Carries the momentum. See if he can clear Fleury through 1 and 2 this time. This is getting a lot of momentum on that outside. Not quite clear of him yet. Clears him because they go back into turn number 3 though. So Andrew Payne up to 6. Fleury back to 7. Daston and Boucher working side by side. Daston works by Boucher. Down the backstretch back into turn number 3. Tassin up to 8th. Boucher back to 9th. Boucher started 14th, so he's still up 5 spots. Tonight, fantastic qualified 8 starts there. Andrew Payne laying down the hot lap of the race. 2.77. Dive into the inside of Eric Hahn. They're 3 and 4 clears him back into the top 5. He's got over a second and a half to go, though, to get to Grahava. His front 4 have broken away. All around 3/10 or so apart from each other. Got about a second, almost a second and a quarter between Brett Hahn first, Joseph Grahava in 4th. 47 laps to go this time by Brett Hahn. CV29. John can't get out of the way. He's car up ahead of him. He's to be 38. David Patton. Towards the inside. Patton stays up high. Trying not to affect lead lap battles at all. 45 laps to go. Out to a 4.5, 1/10 of a second advantage. 1/10 of a second faster than Luigi last time by Ron Hart. Going to start to put a battle on David Luigi. Luigi working that second lane off of turn number 4. Hart working the inside. They're going to go side by side back into turn number 1. Hart going to try to work that inside line, hold tight down the middle of the track, down the backstretch. They're going to take advantage of that inside line, see if he can clear David Luigi. Luigi can look for a crossover, just not quite there yet. Work the outside, try to take a later entry, cross underneath Hart, coming off of turn 2. It's also going to allow Grahava to close back up. So we get a yellow flag as David Patton, Mayor Sala getting into a bit of an incident there. We're going to replay, see what happened on these two. Unfortunately, off the lead lap. See Patton working to the outside. Work the outside line, trying to let lead lap drivers go by. That was the 7-11 of Eric Hahn. Boucher there. Let's see what happens. You see the 69. Oh, looks like Devin McDonald tried to squeeze the outside of Strickland. Just drove into the left side of Patton. Nothing Patton could do is he's basically the outside retaining wall. McDonald thought he could squeeze in front of Patton. Just not enough room there, so a little bit of a misjudgment by McDonald on that part. Not enough gap there. So keep Brett Hahn as your race leader. Ron Hart 2nd, David Luigi 3rd, Grahava 4th, and Andrew Payne now up to 5th after the pit stop under the last caution. Again, working caution number 18. 43 laps to go. See if we get the 1 to go this time by. Pace car works its way out of turn 4 across the stripe. Do get the 1 to go. It's like still race control elected to run a single file restart. Hadn't got enough green flag laps in yet. Did a couple double file restarts. They've added to excitement of tonight's event. The rash caution single file, trying to clean it up. Get us an exciting conclusion to tonight's event. 42 laps to go once we get the line. Ooh, Ron Hart does not get going. Big issue there. That stacks the whole field up on the front stretch. Andrew Payne going to come away with the biggest benefit. He comes all the way into 2nd after dodging all that. Not sure what happened for Ron Hart. He just did not get going. It's like he's not showing in the race at this moment. That also gives Brett Hahn a massive 2-second advantage. Andrew Payne going to have a momentous gap to try to close up to him if he wants to contend for the lead before the end of tonight's event. And he's only got 40 laps to do it. Nick Fleury, half-second back of Payne in 3rd. He's got David Luigi working behind him. Boucher, after a bunch of spins, all the way back up to 5th. Trying to Dassin 6, and we get a caution flag. Looks like you see the 113 and John Hammond spun around there in turn number 4. Brings out caution number 19. Lap 113. So, no idea what happened to Ron Hart there. Just did not get going off of that restart. Fortunately, everybody was anticipating him going, and he is no longer in tonight's event. Just going to put the field back together. So, again, Andrew Payne, probably the biggest benefactor of that restart, was able to find himself quickly from second, or from 5th to 2nd. And now he's going to have the shot to try to work on the back bumper of Brett Hahn for the lead instead of having a 2-second gap to close up. These cars bring the field around the backstretch. They're going to work their way, try to get resorted back up. Front 4 or 5 drivers looking pretty clean. Looks like Noah Boucher with some front bumper damage. Again, we know he's been involved in a bit of contact tonight, both on the receiving end of it as well as the giving end. Let's see if he'll continue to use that. He's going to start to use that bumper, try to work his way through the field with limited laps remaining, or if he's going to err on the side of patience. David Luigi, only driver in your top 5 that is not pitted yet tonight for the set of tires. Only driver out on the track that has not come to pit, so very impressive he's hanging around the top 5. We've seen drivers choosing different cautions to take their pit stop, grab their second set of tires. Second set definitely making an advantage in the grip. Just allowing your drivers to put the cars a little more where they want on the track without the fear of sliding. Get ready to go green. Not going to lead back off. Turn number 4 his way to a 4/10 of a second advantage over Andrew Payne. Payne 4/10 of a second ahead of Nick Fleury. Fleury just ahead of Dave Luigi. Luigi running 4th. Just trying to work to the inside of Fleury. Not quite there as they go back into turn number 1. Fleury closes the door. There's the tail. We got a spin behind. Looks like Noah Boucher involved in that one. So possibly. Not sure if Eric Hahn was involved in that one, but grab a replay here. See what happened to Noah. Noah just ahead of Will Dassin. Looks like Will Dassin gonna be running tight to the back bumper. Boucher gonna try to dive down to the inside. Boucher gonna shut that door. Dassin gonna give him a bit of a shove. Kind of sends him up the track, light contact. Boucher cutting back down hard to the inside, trying to shut the door, and at that point, Will Dassin was there, and Will Dassin, not wanting to think of that one here or anything differently, sends Boucher around. I'm sure Boucher has not made the most friends tonight. Doesn't often invite anybody for intentional wrecking. What that usually does is you want to try to get back down, or you think you're clear. Somebody may not necessarily give you the room to clear yourself. Working lap 115 with 35 to go once we get the green flag. See the pace car gives the drivers the one to go. Do get that. We'll be getting ready to go green next time by. 11 cars on the lead lap. Back to under green. On again, trying to take advantage. 3.5 tenth of a second advantage over Andrew Payne. Payne a little bit more of an advantage, about half a second ahead of Nick Fleury. So Fleury's going to be back under the attack of the 87th. Dave Luigi for 3rd and 4th. Fleury started 12th, up 9 spots. Luigi started 11th, up 7 spots. Big gainer of the race, 16 of Mark, 74 of Mark, while she's up in 5th. Started 21st tonight. It's done well to avoid melees that have happened. And Han really take advantage of those fresh tires. He's going to work to the inside, or excuse me, Payne take advantage of the fresh tires. Working momentarily to the inside of Brett Hahn. Brett Hahn says, no, not quite so fast. That silver chrome blue trim machine. These two quickly pulling away, almost a full second ahead of 3rd Nick Fleury, creating a 2-car battle for the race lead. We're lap 20 the next time by 11:31 to go to settle this. Lap times this time by between the two. Slight advantage for Brett Hahn, 400ths of a second faster. Andrew Payne getting a really good run down the backstretch. Trying to take that outside to inside line. A little later entry, carry a little more momentum in, try to get to the inside of Hahn. Hahn wiser to the moves though, trying to keep the doors shut off the corners. And trying to get the inside, still just a little bit of a more than a tire width off. Back bumper of Brett Hahn. Running him clean though. Just trying to work his way back up the field. He's side by side with Lasson. See if there's any love lost between these two. Lasson pulls away from the Fisher momentarily. It's for 8th and 9th. Back up to the front though. This is your battle. Closest battle on track and for the race lead. Andrew Payne. His tires are about 16 laps, 24 laps fresher. See some of these laps under caution. He's with the Team Goon Squad machine. Good position, trying to gain some ground. Just behind Brett Hahn. Brett Hahn still controlling this. Those that worked their way out of turn number 2 on the backstretch. 24 laps to go next time by. Entering the closing stages of tonight's event. Hahn still working that inside line through the corners. Still about a 10.5 of a second off. Nearly identical lap times between the two. Fastest driver on the truck last time by was 25 Nick Fleury. He's got 0.6 of a second to go though. Slowly making up time on these two. Starts to pull away momentarily. Has the gap now doubled up to 0.3 of a second. Nick Fleury, 0.6 of a second behind Payne. Still a full second behind Brett Hahn. Hahn turning up the pace. 14.98 last time by. Payne's 14.09. Fleury's 14.06. So he senses with 20 laps to go. It's time to try to extend the lead. Walk away with tonight's race. Field thinned out. 12 cars on the track right now. Puts the 113 John Hammond down laps, 9 on the lead lap, 12 on the track. 4.5 tenths of a second separates on to Payne. 4.5 tenths separates Payne to Fleury. Fleury with a big advantage. Dave Luigi. We're going to go up back through the field. 6th and 7th. Dasson's trying to work his way up through the field. Working the inside of Tim Rogers in the 48. Still side by side back into turn number 1. Looks like Dasson will clear Rogers. Puts him up to 6. He's 4 seconds behind Mark Walsh, so not likely to get there unless we get a caution, but we obviously have seen crazy things happen tonight. Some Rogers going to start behind him with Dassin. Eric Hahn, a couple tenths behind Rogers. Boucher watching the back of this one. Definitely starting to separate as we're seeing big pace differences between drivers on the lead lap now. It's going to be the difference in tires as well as damage, who's been involved in wrecks. No fast repairs again. You have to watch what kind of contact you have. These open wheel cars much more susceptible to damage. It affect the suspension components and affect the handling and speed of the machines. The car breakaway. Oh, caution flag out. Boucher, Eric Hahn bringing out 20th caution of tonight. Just 13 laps to go. Excuse me, 21st caution. Let's take a look at what happened. Hahn, they're working the inside. They were trying to work the inside of the 48. That was Tim Rogers. Let's see what ends up happening here into turn number 1. Looks like Boucher gonna drive it in deep. Tries to get to the inside of Hahn. Hahn gets loose off the corner. Not sure if Boucher made contact with him in the middle of turn 2, but definitely coming down the backstretch. Sends both of them around to the inside retaining wall. So that's what brings out the 21st caution of tonight's event. Hahn did not want to see that as he had been pulling away from Andrew Payne, Nick Fleury. Not sure if Payne used up all his tires trying to work to the inside of Brett Hahn. Brett Hahn doing just enough to try to keep Payne at bay. 11 to go once they get the green flag. It's like race control deemed that we did get enough laps in, so we're gonna go side by side this time by. Right here, these cars gonna be pulling off. Brett Hahn gonna lead them by. 12 to go. So we get the green flag. Fleury trying to take advantage of that inside start. Oh! Ooh, tough contact there between the 87 and David Luigi, Andrew Payne, and the 93. Payne sent hard up into the outside retaining wall in turn number 2. Let's take a look at that. That was tough contact between Payne and Luigi. They're going to be working their way here. This is going to be on the restart. See Luigi. Second car on the outside row behind Andrew Payne. Let's see what happens as they work their way. This is going to be the green flag. Hahn, Fleury going to take advantage of the inside. See Fleury getting a good jump behind Hahn. Looks like Luigi's going to try to dive to the inside of Payne to try to take that position away after they cross the start-finish line. Just or shoots the corner, just does not turn in when he needed to. Gets into the left rear. Andrew Payne sends Payne hard into the outside retaining wall. Right front takes some heavy contact in that outside retaining wall. So we work caution number 22. Tonight's event on your race leader. Back under green, 11 laps to go. On big jump. So we'll already started outside 74 of Mark Welch. Marking the inside. Well, Dassin now up to 4th. There's Tim Rogers. He's going to try to sense his sights. Mark Welch. G back to 6th. Andrew Payne off the track with the contact. Eric Hahn also off the track with contact. So there's just 8 drivers on the lead lap. 10 to go. 9 to go this time by. Front 3 is spread out quite a bit. Looking side by side here between Tim Rogers on the outside, David Luigi on the inside. Luigi trying to grab 5th place away from Rogers. Does do it. 3 and 4. Now going to set his sights on Brian Moldassin. Last time by, half a tenth faster than Moldassin. He's got 0.2 of a second to close up. Fastest lap of race last time by. Nick Fleury, 2.84. Just slightly faster than Brett Hahn, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to close up a 4/10-second gap. Got a great battle here, though, between Luigi and Moldassin. Luigi trying to work himself back. 4th does clear Moldassin off a turn 2. Sets sights on Mark Welch. 5 laps to go, see if he can grab himself a podium spot. Last time by, 0.1 of a second faster than Welch. And that's about the gap that he has to go. It's all about 2 seconds behind. 25 Nick Fleury per second, so looks like this is about as far as these drivers are going to go right now. So we get a caution. 3 laps to go next time by. On 0.3 of a second ahead of Fleury, we're going to jump up here. Battle for the lead with 3 laps to go, excuse me. Back out of turn number 2, and we get a caution. Looks like Mark Welch with an issue in the 74 machine. It's under caution, 23rd caution, with just 2 laps to go tonight. Let's see what happened to Mark Welch. See Mark Welch working behind Luigi Moldassin, trying to close up to him. Come out of turn number 4, down the front stretch. Welch working to the inside. Let's see if he gets loose off of turn 2. Yeah, just holds it tight, gets on the throttle, gets loose off of turn 2. Solo spin for him down to the inside. I guess the benefit is not having many cars on the late lap, only cycles it back to 8th. It's going to keep Brett Hahn in the race lead. Fleury 2nd, David Luigi 3rd, Brian Moldassin 4th, Tim Rogers 5th. Boucher, for all his spins and wrecks, still finds himself in 6th tonight. Trying to handle the 113 machine lap. 8th, and we are back under green, 2 to go. Single fire restart. Hahn quickly pulling away. Fleury running under the attack. David Luigi. Luigi with 4 tires. Trying to take advantage. White flag this time by. Hahn got 1 lap left to go. Seal the deal. Fleury trying to do all he can to hold off Luigi. Looks like Brett Hahn's going to work his way off of turn number 4. Grab tonight's race win. Nick Fleury finished 2nd. Dave Luigi 3rd. Brian Moldassin 4th. And Tim Rogers rounds out your top 5. You give these drivers a few minutes to settle down, cool down, pull the cars off. Get a debrief. Grab your top 3 for post-race interviews. Brett Hahn's gonna go celebrate. So we finally got there. Took a little while. We did finally get there. We're gonna try to grab third place finisher. It's gonna be David Luigi. It's his way up.
User was moved to your channel.
Got with me our third place finisher of tonight's event, David Luigi. David, we saw a bit of a rough and tumble event out there tonight. Drivers kind of having some issues. Tell me what you saw from your view of the cockpit tonight as you worked your way through the field.
User left your channel.
All right, looks like we have a bit of an issue. We will grab Flurry in a minute for post-race interview. David, just a minute. We'll see if we can grab him for post-race interview. So you see your front three sitting there on the front stretch. Try this one more time, see if we can grab David.
User was moved to your channel.
David, this is Jacob Fescan and TGS Broadcasting. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. I don't know what happened there.
Not a problem. Glad to hear from you. So as I was saying before, we had a bit of a rough and tumble race tonight. Quite a few cautions. What was the key for you navigating through the field and the minefield of all the wrecks that were going on out there?
In all honesty, my whole goal was to just stay as close to the front. That way I didn't have to worry about a lot of those wrecks. And basically run 120 laps and race for the last 30.
We saw you start mid-pack in 11th tonight. Did you feel like that might have hindered that strategy of trying to avoid this stuff being in the middle of it, or did you feel like you were going to be able to dodge anything that happened there?
I moved to the front pretty relatively quickly. I was in the top 5 within the first 10-15 laps. So from there on, it was just kind of ride and take care of my stuff. Got caught up in that last caution. Actually was able to, everybody had taken tires by then but me, so I actually had a set of tires sitting in the pits, so I was able to take those at that last caution and kind of carve through the field.
Yeah, we noticed that. Was that a plan that you had the entire race to wait to pit, or did you just think with the lack of long green flag runs that it was best served to save the tires for the end in case of a late race caution?
In all honesty, I was running lap times that were faster than my qualifying lap on lap 115, so I didn't feel that I needed to risk getting tires and being stuck in the back with all the wrecks.
Absolutely. Congratulations on a great job working yourself up to a third place finish. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammate Noah. I mean, we've just been working together, kind of communicating on what's going on the track and what each other is doing on the track to make each other a little faster. He had a rough race, so it was nice to get a podium for the team.
Well, congratulations on a great finish. Job well earned, and we look forward to see you back on the track next week.
All right, thank you. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you next week.
Sounds good. That was your third place finisher, driver of the number 87, David Luigi.
User left your channel.
And we are going to grab our second place finisher, driver of the number 25, Nick Flurry.
User was moved to your channel.
Got with me our second place finisher, driver of the number 25 machine, Nick Flurry. Nick, you got a copy?
I do.
Awesome. Glad to have you up here. You started mid-pack 12th today. found your way through the minefield of wrecks today with the numerous cautions. Tell me, were you nervous starting mid-pack after what could potentially happen here on a short track?
Yeah, absolutely. This track is just ripe for cautions, and it's very difficult to try to be safe and just be there at the end.
We saw drivers taking different strategies of when to come in to grab their second set of tires with all the way the cautions fell. You came in close to the midway point, lap number 70. Was that kind of a pre-planned strategy, or did you base that off of when Brett Hahn ended up coming on the pit road for his tires?
Well, Brett and I are teammates, so we were in constant communication about that, but we were indeed trying to figure out what was going to be the best call, and fortunately it worked out very well for us.
Yeah, you worked your way up through. We saw some drivers kind of having some issues getting off of the corners. A little bit tough at times to put the power down in these SK machines. Usually it's kind of unknown for that, with the SK being a little bit of lower horsepower machine. The track conditions, maybe a little bit of hot slick track kind of contributing to some of that, or you think might have been something with the setup tonight?
It was definitely the setup, and it was a little bit planned on purpose because we've been getting a lot of races this year that are just kind of nose to tail. You can't do anything, just single file. So we had to make them just a little bit difficult to drive so that it lets the cream rise to the top, and we can have some good side-by-side racing and some passing.
Certainly a great job with that. Exciting action on the track. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to start with my Lord and Savior. She's everything. Next, I got to thank my wife. She's so good to me, and I love her very much. I got to thank my sponsors. They're very important. They really support me a lot. J Angle Home Improvement, CPM Incorporated, and Mike's Garage. And then I got to thank my teammates. We work very well together and have a lot of fun racing with each other. And I also got to thank our race sponsors, Race1, Horsepower Happenings, and we had a new sponsor tonight, 517. They were very generous to come on board, and we really appreciate their help.
Congratulations on a job well done finishing second place, and best of luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
That was your second place finisher, driver the number 25, Nick Fleury. Get our race winner here on board momentarily for post-race interview.
User was kicked out of your channel.
Grab our race winner, driver of the number 71, Brett Hahn.
User was moved to your channel.
Got with me our race winning driver of the number 71 machine, Brett Hahn. Brett, looked like you and Devin McDonald were going to run for a good battle early on in the race. Some issues for him. Saw you take over the lead, and you held on to it most of the way there. What was the key to success for keeping your machine up front tonight?
Yeah, Jacob, yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, it was a tough one. Qualified on the outside front row. We knew we had some speed in the 71 machine. And yeah, I knew I had to get around Devin because I knew this setup was definitely a handful. Tough to get off the corner, especially turn two. So I'm like, I got to get around Devin as quickly as possible. I could see you started getting loose even at the beginning. So once I saw that advantage, I knew I had to take it. And luckily just got in front of him at the line for that yellow. And yeah, Jacob, the key tonight was track position, a little bit of tire gamble because this thing would burn off the right rear even with these low horsepower machines. You just had to send it into these corners so deep to keep that momentum that you're burning off the right rear kind of on corner entry almost.
Absolutely. We spoke with Nick, your teammate, and you mentioned you guys were going back and forth on when to decide to take that second set of tires. Tell me, what was the factors that led you guys to pit under the caution on lap 70 for that second set?
Yeah, Jacob, first gotta give a shout out to Nick with that call. You know, he's a really good strategy guy, pretty smart up there while in the car as well. So we decided to come down then to be the first to take tires, hopefully get through the field and have that tire advantage. We made great work getting through the field, and then Andrew Payne pitted later and had fresher tires, and I knew I had to keep him behind me because he was a shotgun driver, and if he got around me, that would have gave him 10 bonus points and put the points lead way out there in front of me. But luckily able to get the job done and close it on up because, yeah, it was a tough race. Jacob, a lot of stress throughout that, especially with Andrew on my bumper for what felt like an eternity.
Yeah, we saw at the end there, close to the finish, Andrew Payne with about 25 lap fresher tires than you, and he was putting on the lap times. Did you run maybe at like 90% at that point, and then when he started falling back, you were just pulling away, or do you think he just maybe burned up that right rear a little too much and made it a bit too difficult to get the power down out of the corners?
Yeah, Jacob, I think he definitely burned it on up. I was definitely running 90% for as long as I could, even when I was out there in the lead. I really didn't want to push these tires if I could, because you push it over the edge, Jacob. I like to say, especially these short track cars, man, it's like you're in a rocking chair. You want to lean back as far as you can, but you can't push it over the edge, especially in the lead. I had to keep away from that apron, because you touch that in that right rear, you kick that thing sideways one lap, and it takes 5 laps to cool on off. And I think that's what happened with Andrew. I was trying to arc it and slowly move down my line, trying to get him to hit the apron. And I think he did that one time, and that really burned it on up. And at that point, I'm like, all right, it's go time. Got some pressure off my back a little bit, and had to hit my marks. And when I saw that yellow a little bit later on, I'm like, oh man, the pressure just ramped right up to 1,000.
Well, job well done holding off him and grabbing that race win. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a big thank you to before we let you go celebrate the victory tonight?
Yeah, Jacob, of course, Nick Fleury running in second. You know, he was figuring out those tires at the end, me some pressure there at the end, and I knew I just had to hit my marks and on the green-white checker, just make sure I got through the gears. Got to give a sorry shout out to Ron Hart. I juggled the restart, went a little bit later, and I think he got drove into the back of and hit the incident limit and got removed. So I hate to see that for him. He's an awesome wheel man, so got to give Ron a shout out. Of course, all the admins that make it happen here at ASRC. Of course, the big sponsor tonight, 517 Detailing. Got to give a huge shout out to them. Thanks again for coming on and putting on this great show. It was awesome to go out there. I know we had a slew of cautions, but the racing was fantastic up front. That is for sure. Also got to give a shout out to Race1 Graphics. Currently have my real life modified stickered by Mark over there at Race1, so be sure to check them on out. He does an awesome job. The numbers on the car look great. Can't wait to go out to Springport Speedway this weekend in Michigan and go do some laps in a real life car again. It's been a few years since that, so finally saved up enough cash income to go out there and try again in my own pocket. But also Horsepower Happenings making this series happen as well. Got to give a shout out to them. All the guys on the car from QuickTime Motorsports Media, RHU Racing with Nick and Dave, all those guys. Got to give a shout out to all the fans watching. Got to give a shout out to my dad out there in the 7-Eleven machine. He does an awesome job. He's currently in a points battle, I think, for round 7. So got to give a shout out to him. Of course, Grammy, my grandma out there watching. The girlfriend, Jesse's tuning on in. I know she was cheering me on, so that's awesome. And yeah, Jacob, thanks for you coming on in with Team Goon Squad. Can't wait to rewatch this broadcast. It's going to be a great watch. And yeah, all the other Brett the Jet fans out there, pumped up out here in Victory Lane, closing in that points battle here.
Congratulations on a great win and best of luck for the rest of the season as well as the real life racing this weekend.
Alrighty, thank you, Jacob.
Disconnected.
That's going to do it for your race winner, driver of the number 71 machine, Brett Hahn. I'm going to take a look at your race results here, wind out tonight's event. We had a slew of cautions, but a great finish out there for everybody tonight. There's your race results again. Brett Hahn grabbing the win in the 71 machine. Nick Fleury bringing it home second. David Luigi, tough race, but bringing it home in third. Brian Wildass in fourth. Tim Rogers fifth. See back through the rest of the top 10. 24 drivers taking the green flag tonight. Had a good field out there. Drivers falling victim to the chaos through the multiple cautions we had tonight, but still some great side-by-side battles all throughout tonight's 150 laps here at Southern National Motorsports Park. Great job by everybody. Get you through the rest of the field there. Again, my name is Jacob Feskian, and on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, proud to bring you another round of the Race1.USSK Modified Series, the American Sim Racing Club here from the Southern National Motorsports Park. Look forward to seeing you all back here next week, same time, same place. And until then, have a great week, everybody.